Hi there, this is Allison with Let's Go Travel Tips. Today we have got COVID health protocol updates on the Princess website. Princess has announced their protocols for sailings to Alaska and Canada this year, and they also have a new heading under sailings to Australia now, and so that's really exciting. So first of all, I would like to welcome all of our Let's Go family members. It is wonderful to be here with all of you, so thank you for coming. I'd also like to welcome everyone who is new. We are even better because you are now here with us, so thank you. If there's anyone here who hasn't subscribed yet, we would love to have you join our Let's Go family and subscribe to our channel. I really think it will help you stay up to date with everything that you need to know if you are planning to go on a cruise in the near future or sometime down the road, or even if you just like to think about cruising or talk about cruising, this is the place for you. So first of all, like I said, Princess has announced what their COVID protocols are going to be for sailings this summer that from Canada or that call in Canada and to Alaska. And so this is really exciting. If you are just brand new here, at the end of last week, no, the beginning of last week, Royal Caribbean announced what their protocols are going to be. And indeed, these are very similar. And so let's just walk through it and I will let you know. And in this process, it will also give you a good window to knowing what is required just to go on a cruise right now. The things that Princess is requiring is very standard across the board. It's very similar to most cruise lines. There's a little bit of differences here and there, but not very much difference at all. And so first of all, let me just tell you first, under Australia, they now have a cruise health sailing section for Australia, but it just says all at Princess, the health, safety, and well-being of our valued guests, our crew, and the communities we visit is our top priority. Our health and safety practices have always been of the highest standard, and we are working with state government agencies on enhancing these practices to an even higher standard as we eagerly plan for return to service in Australia in mid-2022. We will share these practices with you as soon as they are finalized. And so hopefully hearing what those protocols are for sailings in Australia is just around the corner. Now, the updates that we have got on the sailings from the United States and that involve Canada is what we're going to discuss here next. So first of all, there is still the vaccination requirement and the testing requirement. And those I don't think are going to go away super soon. I'm not in charge of anything, but just based on how everything is going, it seems like those are going to be with us for at least the next little while. And so Princess says that they continue to operate with at least 95% of their passengers, excluding children who are aged like 4 and under, because 5 and up are eligible for a vaccine. So at least 95% of all the other guests are vaccinated. A really interesting thing to note, though, it says for voyages that include Canada, it says, please note that Canada is not currently supporting a process for exemptions to vaccination for embarkation or debarkation in Canada, and then it says Vancouver, for non-Canadian citizens. Cruises beginning or ending in Canada will require 100% of guests to be fully vaccinated except for children under 12. And they give the little website, it's travel.ca, travel.gc.ca if you want to read through all of their requirements. So if you are wanting to sail to Alaska this summer and you are not vaccinated and you can get an exemption through Princess, or you even want to ask for one, you should go ahead and book a cruise that is round trip, like out of Seattle, or just one that doesn't depart from Vancouver, okay? Because you're not going to be able to do it if you're not vaccinated. And of course, these can change at any time, but that is where Canada stands today. It also says that fully vaccinated guests must show proof of their COVID-19 vaccination at the terminal prior to boarding. And if you can't show that proof, you don't get to board the ship. They say guests should also ensure that they understand all the requirements of travel from their home country to the destinations they plan to visit. Requirements are updated frequently, and official websites and apps developed by government agencies and tourism ministries are the recommended resources for these protocols. And so just really keep an eye. I am really keeping an eye, but I want you to keep an eye as well, so that it really helps if we all share information here. But in the end, you're responsible since you're the one that's going to be on your trip, okay? So just really remember that, but I'll do my best to keep you up to date. Now, I want to zip through really quick which vaccines are allowed on these sailings that include Canada. You can have 2 of the Pfizer doses, 2 Moderna, 1 of the Johnson & Johnson, 2 AstraZeneca, 2 of the Sinopharm, 2 of the Sinovac, and 2 of the Covaxin, and 2 of the Novavax doses. And so if you have a different vaccine than those, I don't think that it will be accepted to sail on these cruises. And luckily, I think that pretty much covers what everybody's getting, but I wanted to tell you that just in case anybody got something different. Alrighty, the next thing that I want to make sure that we know is if you do need to get one of those vaccinations, now in their protocols they give the phone numbers that you need to call if you want one of those exemptions. And it says they do, it's just a small number of exemptions that they give. And in North America, it's just 1-800-PRINCESS. Okay, so it's just the number we always call when we want something, we've got a question for Princess. In the United Kingdom, just write this down, it's 0344-338-8663. I am guessing that our Let's Go family members who are in the United Kingdom already know that number is probably the main number for Princess there in the UK, but I wanted to tell it to you just in case. And that's how you get it. You don't go online and find a form to fill out or anything like that. You call that number and you talk to an agent there and find out what you need. It says, once again, they in Canada, they put this in here twice, so clearly they wanted to make sure that no one missed it, that all of the cruises sailing from Canada have to have 100% of the guests vaccinated. So that's just another little reminder there. As far as testing goes, for if you are, once again, they've got a slightly different rule for people sailing from Canada. So it says, based on the current Canadian requirements for cruising, all guests 5 and above will be required to have a negative COVID test taken before boarding within 1 day for an antigen test or 3 days for a PCR test. And so make sure that you know which, if you're going to get the antigen or the PCR. The antigen is what I would recommend. Then you don't have to worry about if a PCR test result doesn't come back. The antigen tests are the ones that traditionally have had the results come back more quickly. They do have rapid PCRs, but those are way more expensive usually. Everywhere that I have ever seen a rapid PCR, they're a lot more expensive. So I would stick with the antigen. So remember, for your sailings from Canada, when you're getting on the ship, you need to have that test within 1 day. And so like if you're sailing out on a Saturday and you're going to get up Friday morning, you could do your test, go to the airport, fly into Vancouver, if you're vaccinated, of course, and you would be vaccinated because you're sailing out of there, fly into Vancouver, sleep overnight, and the next day go get on the ship, and you would be fine because it would be 1 day. But if you're going to fly up and you are going to go a day or two early, then you need to do an extra antigen test when you get there. And you could either do it at the Vancouver airport like we've talked about. There's other testing locations people from Canada have mentioned. And if I was going to go visit Canada, I would probably go to the airport and do my test. But I would definitely take with me an extra test just as my backup. Or else figure out, some people have friends up there they're going to visit. I would just ask them if they know a place to have a test done if they need it. So just kind of keep that in mind. They also want to make sure that everybody knows that if you are going to be on a cruise tour that begins with a land tour, so you're going to go on a cruise, but you're doing that land tour first, it says guests do not need to be tested prior to their land tour. We will also facilitate testing towards the end of the land tour prior to the guest's embarkation on the cruise. No testing is required for disembarkation in Vancouver. So does all that make sense? So if you are coming in, first of all, you're going to go on your land tour. You don't need to be tested for your land tour. So you can just fly to where you're going, go on your land tour, enjoy it, and then they will help you have testing in order to get on the ship. When you are ready to get off the ship at the end of your cruise, they are not requiring testing to call in Vancouver. Okay, I just tried to restate that in a way that's easy to understand. So if you're on a cruise, and then you're going to go on your land tour, it says guests are not required to be tested prior to disembarkation. So if you're on that cruise, you can get off the ship without a test and go on your land tour. I think this is really wonderful news. We have had so many people, and I have been worried with you about just everything that you would need to think of to be tested for a land tour, and then again to get on the cruise ship, or if you're on a cruise and getting tested to go on a land tour. So this is awesome that you're not going to have to worry about the testing there. So they talked a little bit about some options they're going to have for testing. They still talk about the Optum test that you can order, the Radius test you can order. These are the ones that come to your home and you do it with someone on a video call with you, a telemedicine basically call with a healthcare professional on the other end of the line. They also point out that it says, another testing option available for fully vaccinated guests on select voyages who are having trouble getting a pre-cruise testing appointment for voyages from the US and Canada through July 31st of 2022. They are going to have a limited number of antigen tests only for fully vaccinated guests at a cost of $100 each. It says reservations are required and may be made up to 10 days in advance with appointments subject to capacity restrictions. And those are the kind that you have to go to DocGo .com website and sign up. So we've been talking about the .go website for a while. We've always talked about it in relation to sailings out of Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Fort Lauderdale. And it sounds like that is now going to be an option for sailings out of some other U.S. ports as well as out of Canada. So I think this is amazing. It's a great way to be able to pick up an extra test, or maybe not I don't mean an extra test, I mean just to get a test if you can't get one in any other way. And so it says for the UK based guests, they are reminding them that they have the Prenetics is a place that they can order a test to do at home, kind of like here in the United States we order from Optum or from eMed or Radius to be able to do that. Now, let me tell you, this here is really important. So yesterday in my video, I told you about how you can take a test, and I showed you the one that we got from the government. It's right here. You can take a test like this and do a telemedicine call with it, and I gave you the directions on, and I forgot to put the links right away, but they're there now, to be able to find the websites where you can do that. And so the important thing is to make sure that your test that you have meets the requirements, and I double checked and this one does. So you just have to make sure that it has to be the COVID test, the NAAT test or an antigen test with emergency use authorization from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. And you have to make sure that your telemedicine call has to have someone that observes you doing the whole thing, and it has to be affiliated so that they are approved to do it. And I checked, and with this iHealth brand, they are affiliated, and they have the they have been certified to be able to do tests that way. And on the other website I gave you I don't know, it starts with an N. That one I looked, and they are as well, so that those can be used for travel. But so just make sure that they take all of, I'm sure they will. They take all of your information, they verify that it's you, they watch you do the tests, and then they give you the test results. And just to make sure that this works, we're going to do these in May when we go on our cruise out of Rome and go to the port. And if for any reason they don't accept them, then I'll let you all know that. And at the port there in Rome and all the ports in Europe there, they say they've got testing there at the port if you need it. So if they don't accept it, we'll just do another test and pay for it. It's not a big deal. But we are going to do it on ours, and so that I can tell you. And so just wanted to make sure you know about that. Let's see. The next thing that I think is important is there are allowances made for people who have had COVID and are very recently recovered. They don't have to, it says you have to be recovered for at least 10 days past their COVID-19 infection and have no symptoms and produce documentation of recovery from COVID-19. You've got to have the paper document from your doctor. There's a lot of information. So if you think you're going to go that route, I would just read everything very carefully. Make sure you dot your I's and cross your T's so that you're able to get on the ship. I wanted to let you know that in Canada, if you're going to go in Canada, we are going to have to do that Arrive Canada website. So it says you have to do the questionnaire, you know, that's like in the Princess app or the Royal Caribbean app, whatever the different cruise lines are using, you have to do that health questionnaire within 24 hours of sailing. And then you also, if you are going to be on a voyage that includes Canada, it says within 72 hours of embarkation, the Canadian government requires guests to sign into the Arrive Can website. You can either use the computer or you can download it onto your phone and use the mobile app, and you have to enter your proof of vaccination information. It says you will receive the Arrive Can receipt, and you have to bring a digital copy of the email or else print your receipt in order to have with you when you travel. Now, I don't know. I am not sure if this is just to embark in Canada or if this is if you're going to visit a port in Canada. So any of you who are on any of those cruises to Canada this summer, will you, if you have any other information on that, will you please let us know? I'll keep my eye out on this and see if they give us any further clarification. But I also am really hopeful that Princess will be communicating with you, and even on other cruise lines. Holland America, Norwegian, Royal Caribbean are all sailing up there this summer. And so if you have heard anything else about what is required if you're just going to go like visit Victoria for the day or another port, I'd love to hear from you on that. Masks are still just going to be recommended, not required. They might be required in a few venues on the ship, but that is all. And then let me tell you here really quick, the last thing really about this, well, there's two other things. One is if you are not vaccinated and you have been given an exemption, you are still going to have to show that negative COVID test, the PCR, within 3 days. And then you're going to also have to be tested again at embarkation, and it's going to be a $150 charge added to your stateroom account. And it says you may not be permitted to go ashore in all of the ports. And so there is not a list of the ports that are not going to let you come, and so I'm hoping that the ports, at least in Alaska and Canada, will let us come, and hopefully as we're moving further down the road, we won't have very many ports, if any, that aren't letting us in. We've still got some that are a little bit slow to take that requirement off that we have historically not been able to go to, but it seems like things are surely getting better. So hopefully going to any ports in Canada and Alaska won't be a problem. And then you also have to do a COVID test right before disembarkation as well. Now, the final thing is Princess still says that they will supply a test for you if you need a test at disembarkation so that you can return to your home country. They point out that you have to go ahead and disembark the ship, collect your luggage, and then go out into the port area, and that is where you're going to be tested. They also say that if you want to be able to do the test before you get off the ship, you are very welcome to bring your own home self-test, that we order, so that you can do it just on the ship using the Wi-Fi on the ship, and have that negative COVID test ready to go when you disembark. Because it's going to take a little bit longer there at the port if you're going to be tested at the port. And so make sure if you want to be tested at the port that you allow, that your flight is later in the day. Don't make it early at all so that you don't have to worry about that. But I think it's a really nice idea as well to be able to have that COVID test done before you disembark, and then you don't even have to worry about it. So I think that was a great option that they pointed out. Now, I've had another update here I just want to make sure that you know about on both the United Kingdom sailing protocols and also the protocols for sailing out of Europe. They are just the same as they were. They were updated, showing the date of March 31st. Today is Friday, April 1st. But the only thing that they changed was adding the same information in about sailings that go to Canada. And it is the same information as I just told you about in this that I just went over with you. The exact same information has been added in to those protocols. And I just want to tell everybody as we're talking about this, if you are embarking on a cruise from any of the ports in Europe, you need to have a negative COVID test to show within 1 day. And so that is clearly the rule for those ports there. That's what those countries are requiring. And so 1 day, 1 day, 1 day. And in the United Kingdom, it's kind of follows the outline that we have had, that if you are vaccinated, you can have 2 days for an antigen, 3 days for a PCR. And if you are fully vaccinated plus you're up to date on your boosters, you can have the 3 days for the antigen and 3 days for the booster. One of our Let's Go family members, Melissa, she asked how long the tests are good for. When you have a COVID test done, like if you have a 3-day testing window, then they're good for 3 days, those results. But you just have to make sure that, like, if you are embarking on, if your ship is leaving on a Saturday, for the 1 day you need to get tested Friday. For the 2 day you need to get tested Thursday, because that's Friday, Saturday. And then if you want to do a 3-day window, you can get tested Wednesday, because it's Wednesday to Thursday to Friday to Saturday. That's how that works. And so those test results are good that long. And if you use this kind as compared to another kind, the test results are good for the same amount of time. And if anybody is going on a cruise soon and you do one of these, would you just let us know if it doesn't work okay? Because I have had some Let's Go family members do it who have used the test from the government, done that telemedicine visit, and have not had a problem. And so I know that some people are worried if it's still going to work, and I can't imagine that they would change their mind now, but at the end of May we'll be doing it, and I'll let you know. So that is pretty much what the COVID health protocols are going to be this summer. Of course, we can always get more updates, and just depending probably on how COVID does and how everything goes is what we're going to be it will determine if anything needs to change. If any of you have any questions about this, don't hesitate to put it in the comments. I've been reading your other comments, and I know that there's lots of things that we need to talk about, but I think this is probably as long as you would like a video to be today. So just keep an eye out for our video tomorrow, and we'll go over some more things that hopefully will be really helpful. If you've got more questions about something that's not even with this, just don't hesitate to put it in the comments, and we will get to it. I really appreciate all of you, and if you appreciate these updates, would you please give this video a thumbs up, because that really helps us. You all take really good, I'll be talking to you again really soon. You all take really good care. God bless you. Love you. Bye-bye.